The homeless crisis has exploded with a pocket of streets, and tonight in a Fox 10 investigation, we kick off a series of reports on the issues and proposed solution.
It's really hard out here. We have to get around water. We have to, like if you want to take a shower, it takes like an hour to take a shower. You got to heat up your own water. I mean, like my pump's not working right now.
In response to New York's mayor, the White House said it is limited in the ways that it can help without action from Congress.
In a land often seen as a beacon of opportunity, where skyscrapers pierce the clouds and innovation drives the economy, a troubling paradox lingers. In cities like Los Angeles, New York, and San Francisco, the sight of weathered tents lining sidewalks, people huddled under emergency shelters, and the emptiness etched into their eyes starkly contrasts with the gleaming towers of prosperity. This is a crisis that refuses to fade: the homelessness epidemic in America. By 2023, the United States had reached an all-time high in homelessness, shedding light on the struggles of its most vulnerable citizens. Who is classified as homeless in America?
There are more than 1,000 unsheltered people living on the streets of an encampment.
People experiencing homelessness are deeply intertwined.
If you could tell, I literally got scratches on my face. I got in a fight 2 days ago. Someone tried to fight me with a knife.
Nonprofits, private investors, they're all scrambling to find millions of dollars in relief money, and their goal is to find more permanent housing for more people.
Homelessness is defined as a condition in which an individual or family lacks a fixed, regular, and adequate nighttime residence to meet their basic needs. This definition encompasses various situations, such as residing in emergency shelters, transitional housing facilities, or locations not intended for human habitation, like parks, vehicles, or abandoned buildings. Additionally, individuals or families who are at imminent risk of losing their primary residence within 14 days, without a plan for alternative housing and insufficient resources or support to secure one, are also classified as homeless. The definition extends to unaccompanied youth under the age of 25 or families with children who have faced housing instability, such as moving 2 or more times within the past 60 days, without a rental agreement or ownership of a permanent residence during that time. Moreover, individuals or families fleeing domestic violence situations without access to safe and permanent housing or adequate resources to secure it are also considered homeless under this classification.
Safe roof over our head for now until we find an apartment, and just, making sure I took every necessary step to make sure that, this one gets like the life that I never had.
In 2023, the United States recorded its highest number of homeless individuals in history, with 653,104 people living without stable housing on a single night in January. This figure represents a 12% increase from the previous year, underscoring the growing severity of the nation's housing crisis. Over the past 5 years, the number of people entering emergency shelters for the first time has surged by more than 23%, highlighting a significant rise in the vulnerability of certain population groups. New York and California stand as the epicenters of this issue, accounting for a staggering 44% of the total homeless population in the U.S. New York City reported the highest number of homeless individuals, with 88,025 people, followed by Los Angeles with 71,320. Other cities like Seattle, San Diego, and Denver also rank among those with the largest homeless populations, each recording over 10,000 individuals. While large urban areas remain the focal points of this crisis, housing over half of the nation's homeless population, rural areas have also seen a sharp increase, with homelessness rising by 10% compared to 2022. States like New Hampshire, New Mexico, and New York saw the highest percentage increases. with New Hampshire experiencing an alarming 52% spike. Conversely, Louisiana and Delaware managed to reduce their homeless populations by 57% and 47% respectively through the success of emergency housing programs. On a per capita basis, the District of Columbia reported the highest rate of homelessness, with 725 individuals per 100,000 residents. New York State followed with 527 per 100,000 residents. These trends reveal that homelessness is not just an issue confined to major metropolitan areas, but rather a systemic problem that affects communities across the nation. Living without a home means enduring persistent insecurity and vulnerability. Homeless individuals face exposure to extreme weather, limited access to hygiene facilities, and the constant threat of violence. Families with children often grapple with interrupted education, while teenagers are at heightened risk of exploitation. Elderly individuals, who should be enjoying retirement, instead suffer worsening health conditions exacerbated by life on the streets.
But I just couldn't do the streets. Not me, you know. But if I had to, I think it would have really changed me and pretty much put me down.
Homelessness is a multifaceted issue with deep roots in various structural and individual factors. Among these, the housing affordability crisis stands out as a major contributor. According to the National Low Income Housing Coalition's 2023 report, a minimum wage worker cannot afford to rent a modest two-bedroom home in any region of the United States. Mortgage interest rates surged to 6.5% in 2023, leading to a 40% increase in monthly home payments. Tens of millions of households, roughly 30% of renters, spend more than 1/3 of their income on housing, significantly increasing their risk of homelessness. Mental health challenges and substance addiction also account for a large percentage of chronic homelessness. In 2023, approximately 17.8% of adults in the U.S., equivalent to over 45 million people, experience substance use disorders. Compounding this issue is the deinstitutionalization of mental health services, which left thousands without access to community-based support systems. It is estimated that 25% of the homeless population suffers from significant mental illnesses, conditions often worsened by the hardships of living on the streets. Moreover, poverty levels in the United States remain a key driver of homelessness. As of 2023, the national poverty rate stood at 11.1%, with 36.8 million people living below the poverty line. Extreme income inequality further exacerbates the issue. The wealthiest 10% of Americans control nearly 70% of the country's wealth, while the bottom 50% hold just 2.5%. In such an inequitable economy, a single job loss or medical emergency can easily push low-income families into homelessness. Systemic failures also play a critical role in perpetuating homelessness. Veterans, who make up 7% of the U.S. population, account for approximately 11% of the homeless population. Similarly, 20% of teenagers who age out of the foster care system experience homelessness before reaching 18 years old. Furthermore, individuals exiting the criminal justice system often lack sufficient reintegration support, leaving them at heightened risk of losing stable housing. The homelessness crisis reflects the broader failure of social systems and underscores the need for comprehensive policies to develop sustainable solutions. Despite the United States investing billions of dollars to combat homelessness, many existing solutions fall short due to fragmented approaches and a focus on symptoms rather than root causes. In 2023, homelessness surged by 12%, marking the largest annual increase since 2007. Contributing factors such as the shortage of affordable housing, inadequate mental health services, and limited access to reliable public transportation have exacerbated the issue. The Housing First model, which has demonstrated a 90% success rate among beneficiaries, faces significant implementation challenges. These include high upfront costs and resistance from local communities. Additionally, strategies like dismantling homeless encampments and criminalizing homelessness often serve to relocate the problem rather than resolve it. It is estimated that about 60% of homeless individuals reside in temporary shelters, which fail to offer long-term solutions. However, strategies such as permanent housing combined with supportive services have proven effective. For example, homelessness among veterans has decreased by 50% over the past 15 years due to these initiatives. To replicate this success among other vulnerable populations, a much greater investment in affordable housing and supportive services is required. A path to hope, success stories and innovations. The homelessness crisis, while daunting, is not without solutions. Across the United States, cities and organizations have shown that change is possible through innovative approaches and unwavering determination. Take Houston, Texas, for instance. By prioritizing the Housing First model and investing heavily in affordable housing, the city has managed to cut its homeless population by more than half since 2011. This achievement wasn't accidental. It was the result of a united effort involving local government, nonprofit groups, and private businesses working in harmony to create lasting solutions. Salt Lake City, Utah, offers another shining example. Through the development of permanent supportive housing for those experiencing chronic homelessness, the city has made remarkable strides. While challenges remain, their model has inspired similar efforts across the country, proving that targeted investment in housing can yield transformative results. Nonprofit organizations have also played a critical role in driving change. Community Solutions, for example, has pioneered initiatives like Built for Zero, leveraging data to systematically end homelessness in communities nationwide. Meanwhile, Habitat for Humanity continues to provide affordable housing to thousands, helping families establish stability and hope where it once seemed out of reach. To address homelessness on a national scale, America must embrace a unified and holistic approach. Expanding access to affordable housing is a crucial first step. With millions of households spending more than a third of their income on rent, housing subsidies and rent control measures are no longer optional. They are essential. Equally important are the services that support individuals in rebuilding their lives. Comprehensive mental health care, substance abuse rehabilitation, and job training programs are proven tools that can help people transition from the streets to permanent housing. Programs like Housing First show the power of combining housing with support, with nearly 90% of participants remaining stably housed. Policy reform is also vital. Criminalizing homelessness solves nothing and only deepens the cycle of poverty and marginalization. Instead, governments must focus on dismantling barriers to housing and aligning their strategies to address the root causes of the crisis. None of this can succeed without the active participation of communities. Change begins when individuals reject stigma and replace it with empathy. Public education, grassroots advocacy, and local involvement can turn collective frustration into action, sparking the kind of movement needed to confront this challenge head-on. Homelessness is not a problem without a solution. It is a challenge that demands compassion, innovation, and resolve. By committing to real change, America can transform this crisis into a testament to what is possible when we choose hope over despair.